I've been happy with my life. I've enjoyed it. I've had fun. You got the design right. That needs to be sold as one of the most important things you achieve. If you choose a permaculture life where you're totally engaged, you're not bored, right? You're engaged all the time. It's very meaningful. When you look back on your memories, they're very, very large. We know when people are happy. We're quite psychic, actually. We can tell if somebody's like, are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you enjoying your life? Does it feel really meaningful? Because we need more people to work with harmony to repair the damage we've done to nature. And the overpopulation will moderate itself once we live in harmony with nature, because we will have an abundance of fresh air, an abundance of fresh water, an abundance of clean, healthy food, an abundance of sensible housing, warmth, friendship, and community. At that point, we'll realize that that is true wealth and not economic wealth. Statements on diet. Over my life, I have experienced different diets of my own choice, going through alternative periods. But every time I come back to really being, more of an animal manager. And I love my animals. I have a lot of animals. It's no problem.
The same we do. The same we do. We do love our animals, and we think about them. We help them. We feed them. We graze them, and when we need something to eat, we just help them to reincarnate faster than they would do this their own way.
You lived a boring life. You didn't really like it. You had to sort of numb yourself with different experiences to tolerate the life you've chosen to live. I'm more of a farmer, but in my genetics. I feel happy outside of the city. I don't feel comfortable in the city, but I work in cities. I go to cities. I've got about 10 days before I feel really uncomfortable. How they can design eco villages, how you can move onto land and with a design in mind for a community, but build that landscape using educational processes as practical exercises. So we can start right away with here's the land that we are going to design, and we can teach you how we were doing it as we literally do it. Start thinking about new ways to live and to work, to live in harmony with nature and be more self-sufficient and self-responsible. Hope for me that we could live in a peaceful, sustainable way and be a positive element rather than a negative element on nature and the environment. That I could see that I could possibly earn enough money that I could buy some cheap land and start that journey myself. And at about that time, I came across permaculture, and it's at very early stages. And it was kind of curious what it was about.
With our struggle to bring more people here in nature, understanding nature and saving it. But for you, as a person who has already done a big way through this life, how do you think? What is better, both? Just to seek out a community first, or to begin alone?
I left the conventional world forever and never conformed again. I've been working inside the permaculture world since 1991 with no compromise. There are permaculture projects everywhere through all the large funding organizations, all the large aid organizations. They all use the words permaculture in a lot of their projects.
That's good. I'm really glad to see you and to hear you. Finally, 10 years has passed from our first contact when we used to live in Mountain Altai and tried to make some bridges with you. Our dear subscribers, We've got incredibly interesting dialogue between Ukrainian Carpathian mountains, Leopolis, and world famous Jeoff Lowton, Australian farmer, known coacher, permaculture design trainer, and the one who founded Zaytuna Farm. My greetings to you, Jeoff.
Yeah, I'm in Jordan right now, so I'm at the Green in the Desert site.
Is it so hot right now there?
It's quite hot. It's cooling because we're aiming towards winter, but we're still having days around 30 degrees.
And we have something about 4 degrees here in Carpathians right now, and it's a little bit cloudy, as you can see here on the background. So let's start our conversation, Jeoff. You have a unique global perspective, and as for me, we are facing pandemics, climate shifts, and the conflict in Ukraine, in Palestine. From your vantage point, what is your diagnosis of this pivotal moment in the history? And looking at Australia and the world, what gives you the most hope for the future? Do we have this hope? Do we have the future?
Well, I'm very optimistic that we're on a real crucial point of change. There's more interest all the time, and we're working on larger jobs than we've ever worked on. Large agricultural jobs are looking at complete change towards polyculture. So we just get it more hopeful all the time. Of course, there's more and more problems. That's the way the world's been going. We're getting better and better and worse at the same time. But I think it's the evidence is more obvious that we have to move towards a system that's self-replicating and self-regulating, so that we have diversity as a way to anchor our production systems to be permanent, with increasing soil fertility, increasing biodiversity, and increasing quality of product. And now, we have the largest farms interested in what we do.
You mean those who make farm business are very peculiar on your way of making farming, yes?
Well, yeah, it's more than just farming, it's complete design. So we've got the same inquiry coming in from landscape architects and town planners, and designing villages and towns, even cities, interested in conversions through taking sensible energy audits of what it is that we can achieve to make things long-lasting, permanent.
That sounds good. Maybe we do have hope. My own path to permaculture began in a mega city, capital of Ukraine, Kiev. We just realized that urban life was deeply unnatural. What was the catalyst, especially for you, for your journey back to nature?
Well, I was born in 1954, so I'm 71 this year, and so I was 16 in 1970. And so I grew up in a period where there was a change in view that things like the Vietnam War was something people protested against, and they needed to start thinking about new ways to live and to live in harmony with nature and be more self-sufficient and self-responsible. So it sort of started back there in the 1970s, and it wasn't until I moved to Australia in 1979 that I could see that I could possibly earn enough money that I could buy some cheap land and start that journey myself. And about that time, I came across permaculture in its very early stages, and it was kind of curious what it was about. So I got involved, and locally, I was very lucky. I was in an area where there was a reasonably active local group, Permaculture Nambour. And from there, that led me to take the course with the Permaculture Design Certificate course with Bill Mollison in 1983. So I had a nice journey down to Tasmania in the south of Australia and took the course with Bill. And that germinated a new hope for me that we could live in a peaceful, sustainable way and be a positive element rather than a negative element on nature and the environment. It took me 8 years to start teaching. I had to learn how to consult and where I could work as a consultant. I ended up being an implementer, landscaper of permaculture in urban gardens, and then gradually I started to teach, and I started to teach solo. So I taught my first PDC on my own, and I continued to get a success with my students and got invited to projects overseas through Bill's Institute, and one project after another, producing active students. I just kept getting invited. So 1991, I started teaching, and I left the conventional world forever and never conformed again. I've been working inside the permaculture world since 1991 with no compromise.
Our dear friends, we, Konstantin and my wife, Natalie Makucha, are ready to announce the publishing project for a wonderful and very interesting book, which is ready and done by us. It is called Total Downshifting or the Full Upgrade. And the very important name of this book is that it is cannabis book, Total Downshifting or the Full Upgrade. This is the book about us, or about people, about mankind, about human beings
and
living
freedom
on Earth. Yes, this is a book about freedom, a book about love, a book about our life. We
sense of life.
Yes, we are the family of citizens of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. And 6 years ago, we left city in order to change our lives. We went to the Russian taiga, to the mountain Altai, to be able to seek the sense of life and to change the life of a citizen towards the real nature, the life as it has to be, the life between mountains and trees, in harmony with birds and bears. And we're very glad to live there for these 5.5 years. We have been building there an eco-village called Altai's Vinaigrette and have been studying how to live, how to build up the house by yourself, how to make a river, how to get food from the earth, and even how to give birth to a child without hospitals and doctors. And we succeeded doing this. We went to Altai when when our family was only 4, and we gave birth to a wonderful kid. Deep in taiga in a frosty winter when it was -centigrades below zero. So all these came together into I would say, really interesting book, of course. It is the combination of our story
as well as the analysis. We were free from the job. We were living a natural life, and we had enough of time to think about how bad do we live in those cities. Why do we have to go for money to get the money from the jobs? Why do we have to suffer? Why do we have to have illnesses? And we have understood that we don't have to live in the cities, and that the life of the human beings must be changed. In the book, you would find the deep analysis and answers about plenty of different questions which touch everyone in their lives, as well as the interesting story about our life. It could be even a good plot for a movie. So we are starting the project on the crowdfunding platform in order to publish this book. It is going to be published on the hemp paper, so none of the trees would suffer from our publishing. And the more important thing is, if you get this book, if you help us, and I'm sure you will, so when you help us, when you sponsor us or bake this project within this crowdfunding platform, you do several good, really good and great things. First, you get knowledge. You get a real treasure for yourself, this book, because this is the experience of 10 years of seeking the answers and of real practice on real natural life. Second, you help us to spread the knowledge, this knowledge about biospheral settlements, about living a good life full of love and health and happiness on this really great and wonderful planet. Yes, and the most important, cannabis book. Yes, cannabis book, total downshifting or the full upgrade is the project that help us to save forests. Of course, we don't cut them, we don't make paper of the forest trees. We're saving forests and making this project on the hemp paper. Let's do it. Let's do it. Together with you.
The same we've done in 2012 when we left the capital of Ukraine and started our way through downshifting, way back to home, to nature, and now we are not come back to the conventional world, as you say. Your Zaytuna farm is a beacon for many, yet people often feel that reaching that high level is too difficult or expensive. If that's a misconception, how can we change it? If the path is inherently challenging, how can we make it more accessible for everyone? What can you tell to those who listen to us? How much time do a man or a group of men need just to get to such a level of understanding nature, sticking with it, saying these nature codes, and then making a good life for you, for your family, with with all those principles, permaculture principles that you know and we do study?
Well, we've always taught the design science, ethical design science, in the permaculture design certificate course. But now we can go on and teach with technology. So we use mapping systems that are backed up by satellite. So we have LiDAR, and we have LiDAR mapping. And we can all access LiDAR, and we can access design programs like Affinity free of charge. Mm-hmm. What we're now doing is teaching people how to use that technology to speed up design process. I can teach from an interactive whiteboard, thousands of people at the same time, to explain why I make a choice of a component, why I put a swale in a certain position, why I put a pond in a certain position, why a house site is a good house site for the client that I'm designing for. So you always have to listen carefully to your clients. But we can now speed up people's ability to understand why a design is put together with component positions. So there's technology used appropriately. So you don't have to use, technology as the only tool, but you can actually speed up your learning processes through the internet, like we're talking together now. So we can speed up people's understanding of how they can become a better designer, how they can design eco-villages, how you can move onto land and with a design in mind for a community, but build that landscape using educational processes as practical exercises. So we can start right away with here's the land that we are going to design, and we can teach you how we were doing it as we literally do it. Here's the earthworks that we need to do initially that we've designed. Next course is a practical on earthworks. These are these buildings that we are going to build, and they're of a particular type that they're highly energy efficient and sustainable. Here is a course in building. So that's literally what I did at Zaytuna Farm. I built the whole course with educational courses, and the result of the educational courses was an income and a product.
I quite agree with you, because speaking about components, we're making all the same. So we've got goats, we produce exclusive goat cheese, and everything that is left after producing cheese. We've got pigs that can eat it, we've got chickens, we've got horses as well. And speaking about the time, I think that this is a kind of crucial, because we settled here in Biopolis starting from 2011, and only this year we have finished our sort of big project. We built up the third lake. It is just several lakes, three of them in one system, gathering the water. But to understand where to build it, where it will work, where it will stand, where it will be good for nature, it took us something about 4 years. Just going, digging, looking, watching, thinking, watching different seasons, winter, spring, etc. And yes, I think that it's quite good that we've got, and with the help of your story, with the help of your tryings, and we have right now a big, vast experience and knowledge that others right now can just use and shorten their time of getting inside the nature, not being just outside like a man who lives in the city. In Ukraine, the war has devastated our eco-community network, and the focus is on right now is only on survival. Globally, is the permaculture. We have talked a little bit about it, but I'm speaking of what I see here in my own country. Globally, is the permaculture and eco-community movement growing? And are we gaining mainstream traction and support, or are we still seen as a fringe movement? How do you think?
Oh, it's massively growing. Yeah, massive. It's exponential. It actually always has been. We can never keep up with the inquiry. So I have quite a large team of people work with me, and I'm overloaded with inquiry. So I have to direct a lot of work to other people. But there are permaculture projects everywhere through all the large funding organizations, all the large aid organizations. They all use the words permaculture in a lot of their projects. So we're working with universities in the education areas, right from schools. There are hardly any schools in Australia that don't have a permaculture project in the school. In fact, a lot have permaculture science classrooms. Permaculture is a common word used on the television, and there are permaculture segments on all the gardening television shows on main primetime television. So, and you just have to look on the internet to see how many permaculture websites, how many permaculture Facebook pages, how many permaculture courses are running. There's probably many thousands of permaculture courses running this second, right now, as we're talking. Thousands and thousands worldwide. It's just exponentially growing. So the inquiry is massive. But of course, you don't know any of that unless you're online, because that's how humans communicate today. It's either, it's the social media mostly that people communicate with. And that's where you see the volumes. A lot of us use CRMs to, customer resource management software to connect with people. So the same systems that are used in business to connect businesses to their clients and keep their clients informed. The same way that people use permaculture, work with permaculture to connect their own student ecosystem. So we've massive numbers of emails. So all our software, all our information that we put out, first point of contact is some type of social media or one of the many social media platforms, and then goes through to internet connecting websites where we harvest an email. So if you trust us, you give us your email, and then we use a CRM, a customer resource management system, to keep you connected. So it's all the same processes, because that's the way the world works. That's the way the world connects. And you see more and more people are jumping onto that connection system. And I think it just has to be. It's not going to be any different for a while, because that's what's helped humanity advance. Its technology has allowed us to advance our information connections. And permaculture is surplus in information. There's enormous amounts of information to share. 95% of everything we produce, we share for free. Only 5% of what we have to share, we charge for to keep ourselves running.
That's good. That means spreading information, spreading knowledge. This is very important. I hear you, and I agree with you that permaculture has got a very huge potential. That's why I'm the director of Carpathian International Permaculture Educational Center here in Ukraine. So I hope we could jump together and cooperate with our struggle to bring more people here in nature, understanding nature and saving it. But for you, as a person who has already done a big way through these lives, how do you think, what is better, path? Just to seek out a community first, or to begin alone? Of course, I've got my own experience. So we've been starting alone in Mountain Altai. We've been starting here, building Biopolis alone. And only then just getting more and more people joining the project and making community. But to your mind, what is better way? First community and then moving to nature, or first moving to nature and starting feeling it, and then, or what is your opinion?
It's just up to you. It depends what sort of person you are. I mean, I've always done work by myself, and then people have come to me and they like what I do. So if they like what I do, then they're okay to come and join. I have still education programs running where I take on apprentices. They have a 10-week program. They can study with me for 10 weeks as an apprentice. They can then come here to Jordan and study for 10 weeks, and they can go to Hungary and study for 10 weeks. And now we have a new project in Spain, in Azara International, where I've just taught a few weeks ago. And again, that one wants to take on apprentices. So practical experience we offer. And it's mostly a work exchange. It does cost because there are costs involved. So I still teach on the ground as a face-to-face PDC. I don't do many specialist courses. I just did an urban course in a 3-day urban course in Spain. So I do different face-to-face education. The majority of our income comes from online education because we have the numbers. So I can teach 10 years with the students in 6 months. So it would take me 10 years to teach the same amount of students as I do online. So we touch more people online. And now we have, that's an event course where it runs with a format over a period. So everybody's taking the same lesson at the same time each week. Mm-hmm. And you're in an international community of students, but we're also opening up an evergreen launch. We open 24/7. You can just join anytime you like, but you're not doing it at the same time as everybody else, so it doesn't have the same support base. My event course has 12 teachers' assistants, and we average 35,000 questions answered on every course, which we actually save and we study those questions and put them into a formula, which questions are most commonly asked. In the evergreen launch, we will have an AI. It's a Jeff Lowton AI answering questions for people. It's been put together with all the questions I've answered for students in the past. And it's just personal. But here in Jordan, I have I have a face-to-face course starting on the 9th of this month, but we only have 10 students because people aren't so attracted to coming to war zones, and we've been next to a very big war zone. Mm-hmm. And we've been watching the missiles go overhead in both directions, and we can hear the conflict. So it's not attractive. I imagine there's a similar thing. Attracting people to go to Ukraine at the moment is not that easy. So for international students to be attracted to go to the Ukraine, we're next door to you. We have some great students in Serbia. No. What's your next door neighbor going north?
Poland, Belarus.
No.
Slovakia, Slovenia, Romania, Hungary. You told him it is close to us too. Russia.
Below Hungary, the next country below Hungary.
Below Hungary, Moldova, Romania, Czechia, Czech Republic,
Romania.
It is
There's some great students
over the mountain. Just 5 kilometers from me, we've got Romania. So we are in a pretty safe place of Ukraine. We don't hear the sounds of war. Thanks to God. It is almost.
We have a lady, Emma, who's putting together a permaculture school in Romania. Mm-hmm. So she's pretty close to you. So I think she's at the other end. She's at the western end of Romania, quite big country. She's attended every course that I've taught in Hungary. And some of those courses were helping people start teaching. So there's some pretty active people in Eastern Europe. So your Eastern Europe sort of group is getting stronger and stronger, I think, because all the courses that I've been involved with, Istefan, Markley in Hungary, have attracted people from all across Eastern Europe. So Istvan's one of my students from a while back, and he'll be here in a week's time. He'll be co-teaching with me. He volunteers every time I come to Jordan. He volunteers to come and help me here at Green in the Desert. So I've reciprocated and been to Hungary every year for the last few years to try and help him get his project started. He, on his own, more or less, moved into land in Hungary and purchased quite a lot of cheap land. People are moving to cities and leaving land in Hungary. He's someone I like to work with because he's got, lots of earth moving equipment that he works with. He's very brave. He puts in lots and lots of diversity. And he doesn't mind having a good physical go at things. That's just me. I like to farm. I like to do large work. I like to, try and have a big visual effect. But other people do things differently. I mean, some people are city people and they like the community of city and they like to set up community gardens and some people just want to live in urban communities. And I support that too. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm more of a farmer, but in my, genetics. I feel happy outside of the city. I don't feel comfortable in the city, but I work in cities. I go to cities. I've got about 10 days before I feel really uncomfortable.
This is the message from Ukraine. Today, the war in the middle of Europe continues. The most richest soils are being planted with deaths and misery. The territory of Ukraine is being depopulated now. It's a pity, but true. Although they say that the most calm and safe place is in the center of hurricane. So maybe just the peaceful Carpathians reach for their natural resources. Vast and ecologically pure region with its forests and rivers will become a womb and will give birth to the next civilization of a new, free mankind. Today, everyone must understand that the world has changed. There is no more world familiar to you. Tomorrow, everything will be even tougher. The sieve for separation of grains from the chaff has become smaller, more precision. This video is an answer to your numerous so similar letters. This video is the last brief instruction for the remaining living beings. Instruction about what is happening, what to do, how to save yourself and loved ones, how to come to Biopolis. And yes, you need to act now. Visit our website. Register as the participant of the 6th International Biospheral Forum, which is being held in Ukrainian Carpathians in June 2024. And importantly, print a personal invitation which indicates the address and ways how to get to Biopolis. Because if tomorrow there is the next blackout and on the exits from the cities there are blog posts, this invitation is very useful to you. It is becoming a path to life. So what is happening now? Globalists purposefully realize their agenda, and in it there is no place for living free people who want to live, who are able to create, develop in love, joy and abundance. 3 or 4 writers are already here. There is a war. Nobody cancelled the epidemic. And hunger is no longer something distant, unknown and impossible. 100 years ago, in Ukraine, there was also a war. And also grain had been taken out. Nowadays, half of the agricultural lands of Ukraine is lost or mined. Right before your eyes, food inflation has reached 1000% in the last year. What's the next? In this new marvelous world, a person is prepared for the role of a digital slave enclosed in a 15-minute city with a basic income depending on a social rating. And here, either you allow them to make a choice for you or you make your own choice. Yes, these are not the easy times now, but you have to know that you are not alone. And despite the fact that there are few people like you, less than 1%, and even if this step towards off-grid seems difficult to you or impossible due to the fact that you lack of experience and knowledge, The people like you, bright and kind people, come to Biopolis to get experience and knowledge. Here you can chat with like-minded people and find calm confidence in your forces. Join our forum as a guest, master or volunteer. We know how to provide ourselves with everything necessary: energy, water, clothes and warmth. How to build a house, how to preserve and increase health, how to protect children from hospitals and schools, give them a high-quality home education, how to save the life of husbands and sons during a universal mobilization, where to invest and increase savings in the conditions of digitalization of currencies and instability of the banking system, and in general, what is stability for you? Figures once a month appearing in your electronic wallet? Air raid warning signals that make you hide daily in the basement? Lack of good news on TV? Stability in a modern so-called civilized world is illusory. It disappears with one pressing the button of the launching missile of virus, turning off the power supply, or starting the next climate disaster or a banking chaos. There's a different stability in nature. The sun rises and comes in. Seasons replace each other. Gardens and children grow. Animals and friends multiply. And the most interesting thing is that they will not drive everyone to the cities, because free-minded and free-spirit people are not needed to the system. Fighting them is very costly. Therefore, two forms of existence will remain in the New World Order. The zombies in 15-minute cities with an injection in their shoulder, with gauze on the face, chip in their heads and military ID in the pocket. And the living ones, very few, free and brave, who have taken the responsibility for their life, will build biospheral settlements and live, protect nature, plant trees, learn this world.